How are we getting on, folks? We'll be kicking off this live session in just a moment. I'm just sharing it around as usual at the start, and then we can obviously crack on with the actual session itself. Going to go live today for about an hour. Just do some updated analysis, basically, and then obviously give you guys the opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. Just bear with me just 2 seconds, people. Copy link. It's fine. So just need to change this on here. If you guys have any questions at the moment while you're waiting, just leave them in the comments, and then I can obviously get those answered when we do start. If you guys have any questions? Just changing thumbnails and things like that and sending these messages out on socials. Live sessions, yeah. Perfect. Save. Just making sure these changes have been made. Has anyone placed any positions today so far? Is there any markets that people have been looking at they're not too sure about? As I say, any questions that you guys have, just leave them in the comments, and then I can get them answered as soon as. Just letting the world know that I'm going live, that's all. Won't be 2 minutes. Okay, so that's that done. Just go back to this video link, copy that and there. Okay, so that's that. Just need to do the same for LinkedIn, and then we can crack on. Nearly done. There we go. Perfect. Right. Let's crack on, shall we? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my phone up just so I can see what all the comments are saying. Let's have a look. Okay, cool. All right, that's fine. Rightio, and then trading view on here. Perfect. Okay, cool. Are there any pairs that you guys want to see me analyze today? Is there anything you want me to run over? Any questions you might have about my strategy, how I like to trade, how I like to analyze? Again, please just use the chats to leave any suggestions and messages for pairs you want to see me analyze, the strategy itself that I use, anything that you guys want to ask, please leave them in the comments below. EuroCAD, okay. Let's have a little look. EuroCAD. So what I'll do is I will perform a full top-down analysis just to give you a better understanding on what's going on. So what I like to do when I perform a full top-down is zoom all the way out just so I can get a better picture on the structure that the price is putting in. Okay, so I would say that we are within. Well, we had price start here. Price came down to set some lows. Price then came high to set a higher high. Prices then set higher lower lows. So that kind of disregards each other. It's going against each trend. This, however, has been a bullish move. We've then had a break of structure to the downside here on the higher time frames. I'd say, in fact, this would be the last structural low, because this low went to set this high, which is the highest high that price is set within this. We've then had price actually break this low. So we could say that actually this market is displaying signs of bearishness on the higher time frame structure. What we would do is we would then look at the impulsive wave that broke the structure, which is this one here, for any unmitigated areas in price, any order blocks that price may come to trade up and into. I found one right here. So this right here is a buy order block. As you can see, price hasn't come to trade into this as of yet. So maybe that's why price is displaying this bullishness now. Price is basically putting in its first initial corrective wave before continuing to trade us lower, and therefore gives us an opportunity to get involved in sell positions. This is basically where we can expect price to set that lower high that we see when we are displayed with bearish structure. So as we know, in bearish structure, we have the production of lower highs and lower lows. This is literally just the first lower high being set here. So if we look at this, for example, as bearishness, not that, sorry, 1 second. So we go from here, we've had that break of structure to the downside. We're then having the creation of a new lower high followed by a new lower low. That right there is clear bearishness. As we know, we protect the highs and we break the lows in bearish structure. So this is what I'm looking to see continue moving forward. Yeah. Reason being is because this, as I say, was the last protected low, because this low went to set the highest high within this bullishness. Price has surpassed that, traded beneath that. That tells us that price is no longer respecting the lows and it's actually breaking them. Okay, it's no longer protecting the lows, it's now breaking them. So we've been delivered with that. I'll keep that marked out just so you've kind of got that. We'll change this to bottom like that. Perfect. And I want to see price trade up and into this, deliver us with that lower high. We can then get involved in sell positions. Now, this is on the weekly time frame. We can obviously refine things as we go down on time frames. So moving down to the daily, just seeing if anything else stands out. So what I like to do is work my way backwards and just look at all these potential areas that may have been left unmitigated. Obviously, everything has been cleared up to this point. So I'll just draw a horizontal line for the moment. All of this data here has been cleared, so we don't need to worry about that, which only really leaves this area in price that has been left unmitigated. I'm just going to check data further back, so you can see this came to trade into this unmitigated candle, and we can see how this is a common pattern that happens. Price comes to trade into these candles. This is all part of the process and how the markets create its structure. So there's nothing else that is suggesting itself to me at the moment. I'm just going to go down again on time frames, looking at this data just to see if I can refine the zone that I've marked out, which I can do. Because we could argue that price pulling back here came to clear anything underneath that, so that's fine. That's fine. This has come to trade into this. This has come to trade into this. This right here traded into that, so that's fine. This right here came to trade into this candle. It's good to work your way backwards because you can see where price is traded into. This came to tap into this unmitigated candle. This has come to penetrate this here. So yeah, everything else has been cleared. So it is just this zone and area and price. So that is really good that we've managed to find just one zone, one area that I believe price may come to trade up and into. So now it's just all about trading price into this zone and then looking for those short opportunities. Okay, so what I will do is I'm just going to go back to the daily time frame, mark this out as a point of interest. So this is a POI, and I'm also going to give you the increments so you guys can go and apply them to your own charts. 0.5390, perfect. So this gives you an area in price that we want to see. We want to see price reverse from. Yeah, we want to see price then trade as lower to create a new lower low. Yeah. So that's our target with this. Now, what we should be doing. So obviously we have a higher time frame target and an area where we want to see price reverse from. But in order for price to actually reach this point, we obviously need demand to be introduced, demand to continue to be introduced. So it's important that we look within this wave now for any areas that have been left unmitigated, any areas of demand that price may come to trade back into, pull back, and then take that next high, corrective wave into this supply zone here. So let's have a little look if we can find anything within this structure. On the one, there's obviously this that's standing out. That came to trade into that. This one here came to trade into this, so that's fine. But we do have that's left over. What we can do is we can digest that and we can look as we go down on the lower time frames to see if that has been mitigated or if it's actually unmitigated still. So we'll go down to the 4-hour time frames. Again, just working our way backwards. Well, there's an unmitigated candle here that we could find demand from. This could encourage price to trade up and into the supply zone. Just going to look for any other areas. This candle as well right here. Price doesn't come to trade into this either. What else do we have? We also have this. So there is actually quite a bit of inefficient structure by the looks of things. So what will be good to do is to go down on those time frames and just make sure that these are actually unmitigated. But it's good to leave them highlighted out for the time being. There's also this right the way down here as well. So it'll be interesting to see. So I think that's okay for now. So what I'm going to do now is just go down on the time frames just to ensure that these zones are valid. So now moving down, you can see that I had this highlighted out originally. And you can see that when we go down on the time frames, what it's suggesting is this was left unmitigated from this, the wick of this candle to the wick of this candle was left unmitigated. But then what we found is when we had the close of this, we then had the open. So the open of the candle was here. Price then traded down to clear this inefficiency, which deems this zone invalid. Okay, so that has been mitigated. So that's fine. That alleviates one of the zones. This, what it has done though, has highlighted another zone that price may come to trade and reverse from. So price is actually trading into this right now. So let's just see what happens. Price could deliver us with another impulse trading higher from here. So we'll just see what happens with that. This is a potential. This isn't a trading idea by no means. This is just what could potentially happen here now. So let's just go back and look at the other zones then. Okay. Price has come down, price has come up, we've come to set those lows. So that again, more to the side that I would say this has actually been mitigated. So let's just go down to the hourly time frames just to see if there is actually an inefficient candle. Okay, so now that we go down on time frames, we can see how this has actually been left unmitigated, which is fine. These came to tap into this unmitigated candle. As you can see, if we highlight this, what we could have done at this moment in time, say that price was trading here at the moment, we would mark this out as a potential area to buy in from. As you can see, as soon as price comes to trade into that, rejects to the upside, we would then place our positions, our buy positions. So this is just an example of how this works, okay? So that we would set our stop loss just below the zone itself. Our take profit could be set just below the previous high that was set to guarantee our take profit can be achieved. Or if you had a higher time frame target in mind, then you could do that as well. But you can see here, just by setting it at just below the previous high, we're still walking away with a 1 to 4. Now, if we had a higher time frame target in mind, you can see how our risk reward ratio increases exponentially. So that's just the power of looking at these order blocks. People that say order blocks aren't real, they don't exist, they absolutely do. So yeah, that's just there. Again, So that's that there. So this, I would say, has been left unmitigated. That's fine. Just going to this zone now as well. Price has come to trade into this, we could argue. That looks like it's been mitigated, to be completely honest. I'm just going to go down on the 30-minute now. Just check these zones again. Okay, so that's highlighting itself more, which is good. Okay. So now we could say, well, actually, now further refining this, we'd go from this red candle here on the 30 minutes. Price hasn't come to trade into that, so I'd say that is valid. Are there any other zones and areas? There's one down here, wasn't there? Let's check this. Okay. Again, we could argue and say, well, this, now we can further refine it. This has actually been left unmitigated. So these are three areas in price that I would say are valid, unmitigated, last sell to buy regions. Okay, so potential areas that price could pull back into to grab any remaining demand in order to continue trading price higher and up and into this market. Now, obviously, they're quite a distance away. So we'd need to ensure that it's coinciding with our higher time frame bias and our higher time frame structure. But as you can see here, just from highlighting this zone out earlier, just before, we can already see rejection to the upside. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be much of a change, but we are looking at 20 pips already from the upside, and that's just from highlighting that zone out a minute ago. So, what I'm going to do is go back to the higher time frames. Now that I've refined those zones, it's important that we look at these points in the market to give us a real scope of how price is going to play. Okay, so if you look at this as an impulsive wave, this is the corrective wave, you can see that within this impulsive wave, we have had fractal impulses and fractal corrections. Yeah, so you can see how price has traded. Yes, it has been very much bearish, but we have had minor corrections, right? Now, with this, for example, we've not really had much to suggest, pullbacks as such. So I would be expecting maybe a higher time frame pullback, a higher time frame correction. So we would be delivered with maybe like a double top looking kind of thing. But then once price trades us into one or two demand zones, we can then expect price to then flip again to the upside and start trading us in a bullish way, trading us into this supply zone here. Yeah. So you can see that price is actually creating what looks to be a head and shoulders pattern, not a double top, a head and shoulders, should I say. This being the shoulder, this being the head, this potentially being the next shoulder. And we could say that price is traded into this. I just get my path, my rectangle. Price is traded into this, tapped in. Supply has been introduced into this market. That's going to trade price lower. We're then going to have a break in the neckline of this head and shoulders, or a break of structure to the downside. People will then be quick to get in short positions, but then what they'll do is they're actually getting manipulated out of the market, because what will happen is price will then come to trade us down, breaking those lows. Yes, you can get involved in temporary short positions, but then what's going to happen is demand will be introduced from one or two traders up and into the supply zone. That's my expectations with this market. So yeah, let's see how this market plays out. But at the moment, I would be hesitant to actually buy in, just because we've been delivered with a 1 hour BOS to the downside. This being the last protected low, this being the high that was created. Prices actually traded into a valid supply zone. We've had the break of structure to the downside. Yes, we're seeing some rejections to the upside here now. As I say, we're looking at about 27 pips now. I would think that price is probably coming to trade into this here before taking us lower for those further short positions. Yeah, so this has given us temporary bullishness, but this is only going to last so long. I feel price will then trade into this. So from here to here, and then continue in that bearish manner, trading us lower and lower and lower into this market. So I would be hesitant to look for short positions. We can expect that all the way down, a break of structure to the upside, and then trade us up and into this, and then bearishness longer term. Yeah. So that's my bias. Did I miss Great British Pound to the US dollar? No, I've not yet been over that, my mate. I'll go over that for you in a second. But yeah, this is my bias for the euro to the euro CAD. I know I said euro USD, then euro CAD. So looking to potentially go short from here. So what I can do is I'll set an alert and we'll see how price plays. But I mean, as I said before, it wasn't a trading opportunity that I was suggesting everyone placed. But if you did place short positions, you would be running nearly 30 pips on this already in those buys. So from here to where price currently is at the moment, I'm expecting price to do something like this. So I've got an alert set just in case we look to get involved in shorts. So that's my bias for Euro CAD. What I'll do is I'll go over Great British Pound to the US dollar now for you if you like. Just going to check if there's any messages in on YouTube. 1 second. Okay, so there's no messages at the moment on YouTube. That's fine. So I'll go over Great British Pound to the USD for you now, mate. I'm actually going to do a full top down on that as well, just because I want to reassess. My analysis on that pair. We had some fundamentals this morning for the Great British Pound. We saw price depreciate. So obviously it was bad news for the Great British Pound as a currency. So we saw Great British Pound pairs actually go in a bearish way, just with the news being bad. So it'll be 2 seconds. So that's been posted. I'm just making sure that these messages have been sent out, just to suggest that we're going live today. As I say, I'm going to be live for about an hour. So if you guys do have questions, get them put in the comments, and then I can just get them answered ASAP. I was going to check. Oh yeah, that was it. There we go. It looks like across the board, really, looking here, every piece of fundamental news today has ended in a bad way. So we had housing starts at 1:30 for the US dollar. Our forecast was 1.48 million. It came back as 1.3 million. That's obviously worse than what we expected, hence why we're probably seeing a move lower for the US dollar pairs as well. But yeah, we had a massive slump this morning around 7 o'clock, and that was down to the CPI. So that was year to year. We had an expected forecast of 8.2%, but it came back as 7.9%. So again, that's obviously not very good. But yeah, let me just get back onto Great British Pound to the US dollar. So okay, you can just see all of this where I've analysed over time. So I had this zone highlighted out, this last buy to sell region. Price has actually come to trade into this perfectly and rejected to the downside. So that's actually not a bad thing at all. As we know, price is within a bearish way. Has been throughout time. So I don't see this trend changing at the moment. In order for me to look to go long in this market as a longer term thing, I would want to see a break in this high. The reason why I'd want to see a break in this high in order to look to go long in this market as a longer term thing is because this high here went on to set this low here, and this is the lowest low. So that means this is the last protected high within this bearish structure. As we know, in bearish structure, the highs are protected, the lows are broken. So I would want to see a break in this high to suggest a flip in the current trend. Yeah. So so you could highlight that out as a potential area. Obviously, if price trades above that, we should be looking to go long longer term. But at the moment, I'm still very much a bear. within the Great British Pound to the US dollar market. I had this zone highlighted out on the weekly and daily. You can see the candle that I've marked out. This was left unmitigated. We had inefficient structure laying below. Price has come to trade up and into this, corrected, putting in that correction, should I say. So that's brilliant. We're now seeing good rejection to the downside. We've had a break of structure fractally. Let's have a look. If we go to the 1 hour time frames, I've marked out this as the last protected low within the bullish correction. As we know, in bullish structure, the lows are protected, the highs aren't. So this is the last protected low, I would say, within this bullish structure that we're seeing. So you can see here, if I just get my path tool out, we mark out these highs and lows. We've then had a break in this. So I want to see price pull back and then start trading us lower. Yeah. So in order for us to get involved in the initial lower high that should be created within this new bearish structure, the reason why I wanted to see price go bearish now is because we've had a break in a protected low that's disregarding the laws of bullishness. We're now following the laws of bearishness. In bearishness, we have breaks in those lows, yeah, protect the highs. So I want to see a new protected high get created, a new lower high, and that's where we want to get involved from. So what we need to do, as always, is I'm just going to move this to the left a little bit just so we can actually see. What I like to do is I like to highlight the impulsive wave that broke the structure, which is from here to here. So then we can look at this data and say, right, okay, well, is there any areas that have been left unmitigated? Are there any areas that price can pull back up into to create that lower high in order for us to find and deem it a valid entry and for us to get involved in this market? Well, yes, there is. There is one right here. I would say this has been left unmitigated, and there is a lot of inefficient structure. So from the wick of this candle to the wick at the bottom of this candle here is all inefficient structure on this time frame. So I would like to see price trade into that. And there's also another one right here as well. So we've got plenty of opportunities to get involved in this market. Now, what a lot of people may do is say, all right, well, price has tapped into this zone, broken structure to the downside. So people may actually get involved in short positions from, say, here. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're looking at a massive stop loss. So this is the beauty of my way of trading and my strategy, the edge that I have in the markets. I just want to show you how refined my entries can be and how they can encourage for greater risk to reward returns. So a normal longer term holder trader, a longer term trader may place a position like so. Price has tapped in, penetrated this zone, shown rejection to the downside. Perfect. They've got the confirmation they need. They've had the break of structure to the downside. They'll have a position like this, right? They'd set their take profit just above the low that's created. This is to just ensure that our take profit can be achieved. That's the right thing to do. Brilliant. The reason why we always set our take profit just above lows that should be broken is because that guarantees that our take profit can be achieved. Because again, if we just go back to the simple fact of bearish and bullish structure and the laws that they follow, we have a break in every single low that is created within bearishness to create a new lower low. So if this whole market was to continue following the laws of bearishness, we can expect a lower high to be created followed by a lower low. So realistically, this low should break in order to create a new lower low. So by setting our take profit just above this, it guarantees that our take profit can be achieved. Yeah. So I just wanted to cover that quickly. Now going back to this, so a normal, longer term holder or a trader may place a position like this. That's a brilliant risk reward return. Not many people can achieve a risk to reward return that high. Now, I am able to stretch this exponentially. Reason being is because what I do is when we have the penetration of these higher time frame zones, I wait for fractal breaks of structure, which we've been delivered with. So I'd mark this out as a VOS. Just going to change this to red. Okay, so that's the break of structure. Perfect. Now what we want to see happen is, because we understand the structural points and we understand price action, we know that price has to come and trade back up to grab any remaining supply in order to continue trading price lower. Okay, as we know in bearish structure, we have the creation of lower highs. Yeah. So price has to pull back, put in this corrective wave to grab any remaining supply in order to encourage price to trade lower yet again. So we understand that price has to do this in this regard. So we mark these two areas out as potential areas that price can come to create those lower highs, right? So I've got these both marked out, and I'm going to give you guys the points in price in just a moment. I just want to finish this example off. So we have these areas highlighted out, right? So this is the original position for someone, a longer term trader, someone who's not willing to find refined entries. Now, if we were to wait for price to then trade into this, okay, we sit patiently and wait. A lot of people can't control their emotions. They can't wait for price to trade into this. They're too preemptive and want to get involved in position straight away. That's the difference between someone who can profit from the markets and someone who's actually successful in this industry. So we found these zones, okay? We then wait for price to trade in. Now, what I do is when price trades us in, like so, is we can expect price to obviously, so let me just draw this in a better way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just get rid of these and draw it in a better way for you all. So we can expect price to put in a corrective wave like this. Perfect. Price trades in, yeah? Now, people, again, you can enter from here. That's absolutely fine. You can enter in from here if that's what you want to do. But how do we know that there's enough supply within this zone to actually completely reverse the market? How do we know that price isn't going to give us some temporary bearishness like this, but then actually continue to trade us up and higher? Now, you may think, oh, well, price has actually broken structure to the downside because it's broken the last protected low. Well, if price then goes on to set a new high, like it has done here, then that would mean that this low that was set wasn't actually a protected low. This was the protected low. So this would be the structure. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is, again, another way of manipulating traders in the market. So they would think, oh, well, this is the protected low because it went on to set a higher high, but then price came back to, create a new higher low. So it would actually be like this. This would be the structure. Now, if I get rid of that, as we can see this here, but as you can see, that's still following bullish structure, right? We still have the production of higher highs and higher lows. So again, those are just ways of manipulating traders out of the market. Now, so that's why it's important that we wait for further confirmation. And this leads to my next point. So now that price is traded into, let me get rid of the other one actually. Okay, so now that price is traded into this supply zone, let's say that price does reverse from here. People can enter in if you want to do that. That's absolutely fine. Now, what I like to do is I like to wait for price to trade in, supply to be introduced, and we wait for the exact same thing that we've waited for on the higher time frame structure. So again, we wait for price to trade in, a break of structure to take place. So a break of structure has taken place from after price tapping into the supply zone. Price is then pulling back to tap into a fractal supply zone to then grab any remaining supply. And then we can expect price to then trade us lower. Yeah. So then this would be the higher time frame impulsive wave. So by waiting for price to trade into this zone and then waiting for a break of structure to the downside, we're getting further confirmation and a higher probability that our trade is going to be successful. Now, what we can do to increase that even more so is then wait for price to pull back again, look at the impulsive wave for any inefficient structure, any unmitigated candles for price to trade into before we sell. And that's exactly what we've done here, yeah? Price has traded in, price has broken structure to the downside, we're waiting for price to pull back to trade us into a supply zone, we go short. That's what we've done. That's what we've done there, and that's exactly what we're doing here. We're literally rinsing and repeating the same process over and over and over again, but we are refining our entry even more so as we do it, yeah? So price traded in, broke structure to the downside, price pulls back, we get involved. Price trades into the supply zone here, yeah, this supply zone right here, break structure to the downside, price pulls back, we get involved, yeah? It is literally just rinsing and repeating that same three-step process, tapping into a supply or demand zone, breaking structure to the downside, pulling back into a fractal supply or demand zone that is found within the initial impulsive wave that broke that structure initially. Rinsing and repeat that process, go down and down and down on time frames, and you're going to get yourself a refined entry. So going back to my whole reasoning for explaining this, you can see here that we have a 1 to 7 risk to reward ratio. For those people who don't want to do this, they don't want to, they're happy with just getting involved like this. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Now, for us who want to get involved with the refined entries, have a higher probability of being successful with our positions and also generate greater risk reward returns, we could get involved from somewhere like this, right? And you are going to see how if we place a short position from here, we could have our stop loss set just below this zone that we get involved from, or you could have it set just below this one. So let's just say that we set it just here, just to be absolutely safe, right? You can see how our risk to reward ratio goes from being a 1 to 7 like this to a 1 to 49. So now our potential returns from this position go from anywhere between 7 and 14%, whether you're risking 1 or 2% of your equity per trade, to 49 to nearly 100% of your equity back from one position. Now, people go on and say, "Oh, what a load of rubbish! This is a load of shit. This strategy doesn't work." Da 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 da. I can prove this strategy works by showing you previous trades and showing you this exact same rundown on other pairs, and I'm going to do that in just a moment. But this absolutely does work, and it is literally just about finding a higher time frame supply demand zone, understanding the overall bias, and then working your way down on time frames. Being patient, having control of your emotions, and sticking to your trading strategy. This absolutely does work. And I'm going to show you this played out in other past positions in just a moment. What I will do actually is I'm going to find a trade where this has been applied. Let me have a look. This is something I integrate, and this is how I trade and have traded for quite some time now. Okay, so I'm going to just I'm just going to show you this on the screen, just so you can see that there's no misleading information. There's no lies to it. I'm going to be fully transparent and show you start to finish. Yeah. So let me just show you this. So this is what I sent into my clients on Saturday. Let me show you this here. So you can see on Saturday, I sent into my clients this analysis. So I wanted to see gold trade into this demand zone and then reject to the upside, trading us into this higher time frame supply zone where I then wanted to see price reverse. Yeah, so we could have looked to go long from around 1949, somewhere around there in price. I'll show you the exact increments in a moment, but it was around 1947 actually, being the top of here. I wanted to trade from here, trade all the way up and into this zone here, right? We were looking at about 300 pips. So that was the analysis before, and then as we go down, this is just other analysis that I've sent out. You can see this is an update. So price traded in as expected, price rejected to the upside and traded us up and actually surpassed our take profit, which is amazing. Now I'm going to show you my entry in a second because you can see how refined it is. You might be wondering why didn't I place my stop loss below this low? And I'm going to give you an exact reason as to why in just a moment. But you can see that this trade, you can see take profit was achieved. Happy days. You can see that the trade took profit for 300 pips, and my stop loss, I think, was around 15 pips. If you do 300 divided by 15, it gives you 40. It gives you 20. Yeah. So if you're risking 1% of your equity, you're looking at 20% return from this position. If you are someone who trades 2% of their equity per trade, like myself, you're looking at nearly 40% returns from one position. And there is no bullshit with this. You can't bullshit analysis, and you can't lie about analysis when there's timestamps here. You can see that it's not I've not rewinded time or anything like that on TradingView. This is the live markets at this moment in time. 9:44 the screenshot was taken. I uploaded the analysis at 9:45. Yeah, so you can see that there's no disregarding the purity of the analysis that was provided. Now, just to explain the position, and then I'm going to go on to actually analyze XAU USD for you as well, to the person that sent the chat in, so it leads perfectly to to it leads perfectly on to that. So just to show you my entry. So this was the trade. Okay. Now my entry for this position, I'm going to explain to you now, right? So we knew that price was trading in a bullish way. It's evident price has given us higher highs and higher lows in this market. Yeah, perfect. So we want to be looking to buy into this market. We want to be trading with the prevailed trend. We want to be trading with majority traders. This is going to increase the probability of a successful position. Okay, so what I did was I highlighted an unmitigated last sell to buy region, an order block that was left over in the market. I wanted to see price trade down and into this, reject to the upside, giving us the opportunity to place bullish positions. So highlighted the zone, price traded in, gave us the actual position we wanted. So that's brilliant. Now my entry, I'll go down to the 5-minute time frames. You will see that we were delivered with a break of structure to the upside. Now, if I just get rid of this line, because that's irrelevant, I just want to show you this. So we're looking at this pullback, yeah? So this is the correction. Trading goes into this, okay? We had the break of structure here. Why did we have a break of structure here? Because this high that was set within this correction went on to set the lowest low. Went on to set this low here, yeah? This is the lowest low that price set within this corrective wave, right? So that means this was the last protected high in the fractal nature of this structure, okay? So when we were delivered with a break of structure to the upside, so if I just highlight this out, when we were delivered with a break of structure to the upside, we have confirmation that this correction here, trading goes into this demand zone, should I say, has now finished, and the next impulsive wave trading goes higher is ready to take place, right? So with us having confirmation that this correction is finished, we are now able to look for valid entries to get involved in these markets, okay? So what we do is we look at the impulsive wave that broke the structure, as you can see this here, just as I was saying with this. So we look at the impulsive wave that broke the structure for supply or demand zones. I've marked 2 out. So then just to go back to this analysis, here was the unmitigated candle. This is unmitigated. This is a last buy to sell region. We wanted to see price pull back and into this square. You can see price traded into that, yeah? So that's the pullback. That's the pullback, price pulling back and into this, right? If I go back to this analysis, we want to see price pull back and into this, into one of 2 zones, yeah? After it's done that, we want to see price, again, break structure to the upside, okay? So again, we go back to this. Price pulled back, perfect. We go down to the 1-minute time frames. Hopefully it will show me the data. Yep, super. Price pulled back. We had the penetration of this. Lovely. We then had a break of structure to the upside again. So price has broken structure to the upside again. This marks the last protected high within this correction. Price has broken structure to the upside. Price then pulls back again to tap into this unmitigated region here that's been left over. Price then trades all the way up and trades us up and into this market. Now I set my stop loss for this position a few pips below the zone itself. The reason why I do this is to just avoid being swept out of the market. What happens is when price comes to trade into these supply and demand zones, sometimes when they do these liquidity grabs, they actually go slightly past the zones themselves. And that's just to take anyone out who's really got a refined entry. You know, if we had a stop loss here, sometimes this whole order block or this whole area in price can actually be filled, and that can cause our stop loss to be hit. So I like to set my stop loss just below the zones, if it's a demand zone, or just above the zones if it's a supply zone. Yeah, and as you can see, price goes on to take profit. So that was the position for XAU USD. So that's just showing you that this strategy and how I trade absolutely works. It's just about rinsing and repeating the same process and just ensuring that we are delivered with all pieces of confirmation before placing those actual positions. Yeah. So I just wanted to show that just so you guys can actually see, because a lot of people are like, will will beg to differ that this strategy actually works, but you can see proof in itself. I've shown you the before and after analysis. So there's no disregarding the it being authentic. You can see that it's authentic. You can see from start to finish the analysis. I've gone through the trade itself. So RRs like this, 20 RRs like this, is absolutely achievable. It's just having the right strategy in order to gain that. Okay. Now let's get to the actual analysis for XAUUSD. So as we can see, price has traded into a supply zone that I wanted to see price reject from. So price has traded into this order block. Price is traded above. So like I was saying to you before, sometimes price does trade above these to sweep people out. I am wanting to see price traders in a bearish way. We can see how this is happening, although we don't have very much volume trading us to the downside. We don't have, large impulsive waves taking us lower. We're seeing how this price it is trading us in a bearish way, but it's almost ranging to an extent. So it shows that there's a lack of supply in this market. So I do believe as soon as price trades us into a demand zone, an area of demand, we will see price take off again. So maybe here price has actually traded into this, so it'll be interesting to see how price plays from that actually. And then we can also look for any other unmitigated areas within this move here that price may come to trade into. But I do believe price may trade into here, and we actually might see price trade us in a bullish way yet again. And I've got this area marked out as a take profit target or an area to look to go short in. Now, the higher time frame scope of this, I'm looking to see price trade us all the way down, creating a new lower low. I'll be completely honest with you. So it's up to you whether you guys want to look to buy into this before we go short, but I am looking to go short from this zone here. So anywhere between 1998 and 2003, I'm looking to go short from, assuming we are delivered with, the right confirmation in order to do so. But yeah, that's my analysis for XAUUSD. Potential buy positions up and into this zone, and then looking to go short longer term. No problem on the analysis for Great British Pound USD, man. I hope it makes sense. I hope my strategy makes sense. But yeah, I am looking to see price go bullish. We have got an order block here as well, but I do believe price may put in a bigger corrective wave before trading goes lower in this market, just following the higher time frame structure. But yeah, that's my analysis for XAUUSD as well. Potential buy positions up and into this zone, and then looking to go short. Price has traded us into this, so let's just see how price plays out. We may see further bearishness just to grab more demand in order to continue pushing price higher. We've got an order block here. We've got actually two, so we've got this one and we've got this one. On the 1 minute time frames, you may see some rejection to the downside. It would only be temporary before obviously continuing to trade us higher. Makes sense and agree. Perfect. Good stuff, mate. Is there any other pairs that you want to see me go over? I'm only live today for an hour, so I've got like another 10-15 minutes before I'm going to call it a day. I usually do live trades, and I usually stay live for quite a while, but I'm on a bit of a tight schedule today, so I wanted to jump on live just to provide some analysis and share my scope on some of the markets, but I can't be too committed to the markets today. So this is looking good as well. Just see what happens here with this, but that seems to be playing out relatively well at the moment. All good from me. Perfect. USD CHF. Okay, so USD CHF. Let's do this one. It's not a market I've actually traded in a very long time. But I used to like trading this. Okay, cool. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at the weekly time frames. I want to see what's going on. Okay, so this market is very much bearish, so we should definitely be looking for short positions as a longer term thing. It doesn't mean to say that price is, we can't look to go go long in this position, in this market, should I say? But we should realistically be looking to go short, just because the majority of traders are trading this market short, and this market is very much a bearish market, so we don't want to be trading against the prevailing trend. Yeah, coming back on today for a live trade, potentially, mate, potentially, yeah. I'm just going to go through this analysis for you now, USD CHF, and then see how we get on, bud. Right, so the reason why I marked this out is because this is the last protected high within this bearish structure, because this high went on to set this low, which is the lowest low, yeah? So I want to see a break in this. So I want to see a break in this, price to then set a higher low, and then price to continue setting higher highs and higher lows. So I'm basically expecting price to actually flip and reverse, to be completely honest with you. But in order to have confirmation of that, we need to start seeing a break in these highs. So at the moment, we should still be looking to trade this market in a bearish way. But that's marked out just because if a BOS presents itself here, we can look for buy positions, and then in brackets, demand zones. Yeah. So we understand that. So here, I've marked this out as an area because this was left unmitigated, and I wanted to see price potentially reverse from here and start trading us higher. Price did reverse from here, delivered us with some bullish structure, but then has continued to trade us in a bearish way. So again, this market is still very much bearish. So realistically, let's look for some bearish opportunities. Because I don't think, looking at this previous data here, there isn't really anything else that's been left unmitigated. Sorry, just want to check this. I'll have a look at this data in a moment, but let's have a look for some short opportunities in this market. Okay, I've got this area marked out. This is obviously an unmitigated candle there. I just want to look at some more recent data. So yes, there's this here, this candle with some inefficient structure below. So this is an area. There's actually a lot of unmitigated candles that have been left over. Again, this is another one. And again, we have this area in price, so there's a lot here. There's a lot of areas that could introduce more supply into this market. We've got 3 potential areas just there from this most recent impulsive wave. So we'll look at some previous data. So that this high comes to tap into this high comes to tap into this comes to tap into this. This will have come to tap into something within this. I need to go down on timeframes to find that. Just want to see if there's anything else that I feel is unmitigated. That is definitely unmitigated. Potentially here as well, actually. Yeah, there's another one here, I would argue and say. So we've got plenty of areas to look to go short from. I would be looking at all of these zones to potentially go short. So I'm gonna read them out for you all now. Well, I can actually, I'll actually draw them out on here. 1 second. So 0.876, 4, and then 0.8797792. So that's that one. 0.8810, 0.838. And this one, you can find all of these zones on the 4-hour time frames. And what I would suggest that you do is then go down on the time frames. Okay, go down on the time frames and see if you can further refine them. You don't want to over refine them, but you want to refine them so they're specific areas in price. Okay, so 0.8875. I think one of the reasons why I probably haven't traded this market for a while is because there is so many unmitigated candles and there is so many order blocks. So because of this, whereas with Great British Pound to the US dollar, we only have 2 to go against. We know that if we see rejection to the downside here and it's and only delivers us with some temporary bearishness, we can expect that there's probably enough supply within this zone to completely flip that market. So we're more specific with our entry points. Okay. Same with like XAU USD. with that buy position that we placed. There was literally only one that I could see that was left unmitigated, this candle here. Price came to trade into that, perfect, and we've seen that. And you can see now, again, I've marked this out for you all earlier, we've had bullishness, we've had a continuation bullishness. So if you have got involved in buy positions based on what I said earlier, say looking to buy before we sell, then you should be up nicely with this market. I definitely said it more than 5 minutes ago, and it's already moved 30 odd pips. So if you have bought into this market, well done. If you want to look to get involved in re-entries, then this would be an area of interest for me. So if you're not involved in buy positions on XAUUSD but want to look to get involved, potentially from here, I would suggest doing so on the 1 minute time frames. Just make sure you've got the right confluence in order to get involved. So I'll mark this out for you all as well. Take a screenshot of this and mark it out for yourself. It is on the 1 minute time frames. So we've got that between 1974 10. But yeah, as I said to you earlier, you did get involved in buy positions on this market based on what I said earlier. Well done. You should be up nicely now. As I say, looking at about 30 pips at the moment on XAUUSD. So that's that. Let me go back to USD CHF. So again, because we have so many zones with this, there's a lot of uncertainty. Do you know what I mean, on specific areas to get involved from? So I've highlighted these areas out. So I'd highlight these out because these will deliver us with some temporary bearishness. But if we see price trade above those, then we are looking at these higher time frame ones. Again, just go to the 4 hour time frames and mark out these unmitigated last buy to sell regions. So the green candles that are left on their own as such, these two here, okay? But those are two areas. Also this as well, I would say, as potential areas to get involved in short positions. But I am looking to go short in this market longer term, all right? So that's my analysis for USD CHF. I'm just going to check the comments on YouTube. So we're good on YouTube. Are there any other markets that you want to see me analyze? Any other markets you want to see me go over before I call this session? Yeah, so we're seeing bullishness being introduced here. We've got an order block here as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is where price is reversing from. To then go and set that next high now. Do you see what I mean? Like this, and then continue trading us up. So that's that there with that one. So that's playing out well, which is good. And then we also have this as a setup. What I'll do is I'll mark these zones out for you all as well just before I call this session, just so you guys can go ahead and do the same. But by all means, take screenshots. Take screenshots and mark them out for yourself. Set alerts 3035. So there's that one there, and then there's also this one. So 1.3062 and 1.3099. Cool. So those two areas, but that's a proper good setup. Just an example of a good setup. So I can get rid of that bullshit because that was for those people who get involved in higher time frame positions and don't look for refined entries. But if you're looking to get involved in refined entries, this is a perfect example of how we could look to get involved. Yeah, if we don't see this take place from this zone, we can expect it to take place from this one, right? So that's that. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with this. I'm expecting bullishness to trade us up now and into this. So that's fine. Euro card, Great British Pound to Japanese yen. I'm actually going to get rid of this. I've got some alerts set. I'm expecting price to clear all of this inefficient structure. So I'm expecting bullishness from that market. NZD card that traded through from fundamentals. That's fine. So I can get rid of that for now. Get rid of that. I'm still waiting for your USD. Good news is, though, we've been delivered with bearish structure, clear introduction of bearishness, so we could look to go short in this market from this supply zone. Price is putting in a higher time frame corrective wave as we speak, so we could look to get involved from here. This on the 30-minute time frames. If you want to mark this out as a potential area, do so. We just want to see price come up and price come down, continue trading in this bearish way, yeah, all the way down and into the supply zone. I've got the demand zone. I've got marked out below. That's following the laws of bearishness, yeah. So mark this out as a potential area to go long from, and then if you wanted to go short temporarily into this, then absolutely do so from this zone. The increments are actually on the right hand side here, as you can see. That's what I always type in on there. So I'll give you a few seconds to mark those out if you want to on that. And then I'll just touch base on XAU USD for you, Chris. Is it Chris? Yeah. And then I'm going to call this session a day. Okay, so let's go to XAU USD. I've got this marked out as a potential area to go long from, mate. So I'm suggesting to go long in this market. So we could look to go long from here. I'd set my stop loss just below. My take profit would be set just below the last high. Just below last high, what we're talking about, just below the supply zone here on the higher time frame. So anywhere beneath 1997. And then your stop loss should be set just below the zone that we're looking to get involved from, yeah. So you can see risk reward ratios on this is amazing as well. But that's my thoughts on this market. But yeah, as I say, when we were looking, when I said looking to go long before we go short, you can do so. We've seen how prices has soared 30, 40 pips already. So well done to anyone who got involved in those longs. But yeah, we've seen price correct itself, put in a correction, just as it did here, and then delivered us with bullishness. Again, we've got that correction. Hopefully, it'll deliver us with bullishness all the way up and into the supply zone here. So it's literally just doing what it's already done, as you can see. Path tool. We go from like here, from the peak. So the correction, impulse, all the way up, and then I want to see a higher time frame reversal to the downside. Euro USD, can you show take profit, please? Euro USD. Is this for the buy position or sell position, mate? Because if it's a buy position, then from this zone here specifically, then it'll be anywhere below this supply zone here. So I would suggest 1.1507. You can see here 1.1507. Yeah. You just see how price plays now with that. But that's my analysis for that pair. Yeah, buy position. Yeah. Yes, that would be my take profit there, mate. No problem, buddy. Yeah, I think that's probably going to summarize my session today. As I say, I'll try and jump on in a little bit if we can get entry confirmation for these positions that I've given you already. But I'm just a bit short for time. I've got a lot of client calls today, this afternoon for those in America. Obviously, with the time difference, I can only obviously get in calls with my American clients later on in the evening for myself. So I'm usually quite busy as of an evening. But yeah, definitely look at this as a potential area. I might leave the live running just for a little bit, just to see what price does from this zone here. But yeah, I am looking to go long potentially from here. What we may find is price has found enough supply from this to push price down, to grab more demand from this zone, and then trades price higher. But we'll see. Obviously, what we wouldn't do is we wouldn't wait for price to trade in, reject to the upside, and then just enter positions. We would wait for a fractal break of structure to take place in and around this zone in order to place those positions. Do you know what I mean? It's important that we wait for breaks of structure in and around the zones that we're looking to enter from. Otherwise, our entry hasn't been deemed as valid as such. This also looks good for a short as well soon. Be interesting to see how this plays out. But yeah, I think I'm going to call the session here. Okay. If you guys have any questions or queries, please leave them in the comments below now. Before I call it a day, and if you want to get involved in these markets with me or the team on a day-to-day basis, head over to the link on my profile that will take you over to the Learning Lounge group chat, which is a free group chat where I post analysis on a day-to-day basis. I post fundamental news in there, and then any updates surrounding me or the business, I post in that chat. And then if you want access to exclusive things, then obviously you can go ahead and do that. But the Learning Lounge group chat is absolutely free. It's just the links there. So I would join that, and then at least you're getting free information on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? Can you show Euro CAD trade again? Right. Okay. This one here. This is the Euro CAD. Basically wanted to see price pull back and into this and then trade us in a bearish way, yeah? Do you remember earlier I highlighted this out as an area of demand after the break of structure? So we're expecting bearishness longer term in this market because we've had the break of structure to the downside as well. I just want to see price pull back into a valid supply zone so I can obviously look to go short. So I've marked this out as an area of supply. And then obviously we can look to go short, but there's actually this up here as well, which I didn't notice. So there's also this here as well. So if you want to mark this out, absolutely do so, because that could also be an area. So the increments are here on the right hand side. Mark that out. It's on the 15-minute time frames, that last buy to sell region. And then obviously here as well. But no, I'm expecting price to pull back now to put in that initial corrective wave to give us that lower high, if you remember, before trading goes lower and bearish longer term. Yeah. What I'll do is if you see you today if you come on. Yeah. What I would do is I would join the Learning Lounge group chat, because what I will do is I will post the analysis in like a picture format, or if you just follow me on TradingView. To those who are messaging on TradingView, if you just follow me on TradingView, I'll post like an illustrated picture with my breakdown in the comments, so you can kind of read through it. Sometimes it's a bit easier to go against that rather than just listening to me blabber on. So yeah, I'll be sure to post some analysis updates on TradingView. And then yeah, if you want to join the Learning Lounge group chat as well, absolutely do that. As I said to you guys before, it's completely free, so I'd recommend. Perfect, mate. Perfect. Well, Luigi, you'll see my analysis put in there in probably the next 20 minutes. I've got a client call in half an hour, 5 till 6 GMT. So I'll definitely be busy for the next hour, but I'll get this analysis put in on TradingView before that call. But yeah, I'm going to call this session a close now. Thank you guys for joining. As I said, if you aren't involved in the Learn Lounge group chat, get yourself involved. And if you do need to contact me for anything, you can find me on Telegram. This is my username. LAGFX. That's my username on Telegram. If you need to contact me for anything, I'm more than happy to do so. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll catch you all in the next one.